There's a simple way you can force yourself to be consistent and do hard things. And it's not about having more motivation or discipline, it's about building the right system. At 22, I was working 15-hour days, but I wasn't growing or getting things done. Fast forward to today, and I built 4 successful companies and a community of over 14 million people. In this video, I'll show you how to design a system that makes consistency automatic, so even on the hardest days, you're still able to follow through and get things done. To build this system, you'll need to master the 3 levels of consistency. Level 1, design the system. Level 2, become the system. And level 3, scale the system. Each of these has its own set of habits that will set you up for success. The math to consistency is really simple, right? 1% better every day is 37 times better in a year. Humans have a hard time really fathoming what compounding looks like, because in any given day, it doesn't sound like you're really moving that much, but suddenly when you take a step back, over 30 days, a year, you're amazed at how much you've accomplished. Most people aren't bad because of motivation. They're bad because of the math, right? When people go and see their small changes that they're making in the right direction, they get down on themselves because they feel like they should be so much further along in life. The truth is, you're probably just riding out that long, boring, growing slope to gradually really hitting the compounding success you're after. You gotta embrace the gap between where you are now and the effort you're putting in and really hitting that inflection point. If you only remember one thing, it's this: small daily efforts beat massive bursts of effort, right? It's those small daily wins that when you stack that up will build you something you're proud of. Embrace those small wins that you can do now that are in your control, and have trust that when you just stay consistent with that stuff, you'll accomplish great things. The second part of designing your system is engineering your environment. When I first started building my companies, my workspace was chaos. Slack notifications all over the place, my phone constantly buzzing, social media all sprinkled in throughout my day, answering emails 5 times a day. My desk was a mess, my life was a mess. I was using different substances to cope with the stress. The reality is your workplace and your environment is a mess, well, your business is gonna be a mess. If your mind is a mess, your life is a mess. And so you need to go and declutter all of your environment, right? Deletion equals simplification. What I learned over time building businesses is the importance of creating frictionless focus. You want your environment to be incredibly conducive to you just being the best version of yourself. When you look at your bedroom, is it something that's conducive to an amazing sleep at night? When you wake up, do you have your gym clothes packed and ready for that nice morning workout that sets your day off to that winning stride? We create our environments as humans, but those environments also create us. So create your environment intentionally. So here's how you do it. You gotta audit your environment for friction. First things first, look around you. There's probably different aspects on your workspace that are a mess. Clean it up. Think about the core habits and the core things that you're trying to become. Maybe successful in business. Maybe you're trying to be well rested. You want to have good energy. You want to have good health. What are the different things that you can do with your environment that would help make that success inevitable? Step 3 is to plan over your mood. Years ago, I'd wake up and just go with the day and see what the day was gonna bring me. I'd gradually go and make a plan in the morning, roughly of what I wanted to do. And I started to wonder, why did the progress feel so slow? Many days I'd wonder, did I even get anything done? Months would go by and I felt like my life was stalling. What I realized through just some trial and error was that you really win the day the night before. A lot of people think they need motivation to take action, but the truth is that action creates motivation. When you finally just start getting after something, gradually the momentum builds, right? And before you know it, you're hitting goals, you're making strides, things start to all kind of fall into place. The key to executing your plan is really taking that minimum viable action that's gonna move you forward to where you're looking to go. I'll see sometimes someone go and say, I need to write an article tomorrow. Well, that article, as an example, could be broken down into figure out the headline, do the research, make an outline, begin writing the intro, finish the script, edit the script. If we can take a project and break it down into more subtasks, not only does it make it easier to get started, but it also will give you a feeling of momentum as you go through and you check off each of these things. Focus on tasks, not projects, and break things down to the minimum viable action. If you can handle all that, you've passed level 1 and you're ready for the next level. Level 2, become the system. And you do this by strengthening the mind-body connection. When I was younger, I thought that working out was optional. You do it a few times a week, you're good to go. The reality is, though, I think we're all different, but for me at least, if I'm not going and breaking a sweat every day, I don't feel right. I've done studies at Harvard showing that, breaking a sweat is like better than Zoloft at fighting things like depression and anxiety. And so, getting a nice jog in, a good run, a row, some yoga, whatever, is great to do, not sometimes, but doing something every day of the week. At the end of the day, a lot of life is about your energy, right? It takes energy to get things done, it takes energy to take action, it takes energy to become the best version of yourself. And if your energy is low, well, your momentum's probably gonna be low in life as well. So if you wanna be consistent with your work, start with your body. You start to feel good, you look good, you're feeling more confident, your self-esteem goes up, and people can tell because your energy in a room is more captivating. You feel confident, right? You're not shying away in a corner. You're totally fine getting in front of a group of people and getting after it, because the truth is that, the same muscles you're kind of working in the gym psychologically are oftentimes those same muscles that you need to work to be consistent. The same thing that's telling you to give up when you're on that 8th rep with a really heavy set of weights is that same sort of voice in your head that's telling you to stop when you've done a couple hard tasks and telling you to not do that 3rd one. Really, more than just working your body, you're working your mind. The next step is an absolute requirement after the last one, and it's to recharge like a pro. Early in my career, I thought that rest was a weakness. In fact, I thought it was like a badge of honor if I was pulling all-nighters, working 18 hours a day. I thought this was the way. I was finally living like a successful entrepreneur. What I've learned is that's actually the opposite of what it should look like. Taking time to rest, to recharge, is much needed. For me, I know one of the most important activities that I can take is every 6 weeks doing a soul trip. Doing some kind of 4 or 7 day little retreat in nature, going for a hike, going snowboarding, going downhill mountain biking, whether it's in the Dolomites, Sequoia, Yosemite, wherever, doesn't matter, but just getting out into nature. Most founders and creators that I know, they treat rest as optional and they self-sabotage themselves. That founder that allows themselves to go and work so hard that they become really hard to be around. They start kind of making a mess in their company, 4 employees quit. Suddenly now they're finding themselves trying to dig themselves out of a hole, but just constantly kind of digging their own grave. I know this because I've been there, right? I've been that founder that was burning the midnight oil, difficult to be around, and slowly was causing my company to collapse. It's rest that brings clarity. The last part of becoming your system is remembering that your friends are your future. In my early 20s, I wasted a ton of time surrounded by a group of people that weren't great influences. I found myself partying, on substances, doing dumb shit, and I realized that I needed to do a bit of a friend audit. Start to cut the people that were bad influences, remove those people that were energy vampires just bringing me down, and start to get much more curated about the people that I really wanted to be around so that I could become the ultimate version of myself. You need to make sure that you're surrounding yourself with people that reflect those dreams, because at the end of the day, the 5 people you surround yourself with are gonna largely dictate your own success. So choose wisely. Level 3, scale the system. Up until this point, I've shown you how to become more and more consistent, but these next 3 steps are gonna help you become super successful, starting with setting up accountability. A year and a half ago, I decided I was gonna write a book, and one of the first actions that I took was to announce it to everyone I knew. The reason that I did it is because I knew all these people around me were gonna hold me accountable to actually writing this damn book. This sort of way of doing kind of a public accountability exercise of actually announcing to people like, hey, I'm doing this thing, has become incredibly motivating because now I gotta fulfill on that promise that I've given so many people. Most people avoid accountability because they fear embarrassment, but that's the whole thing. Your fear of embarrassment is gonna cause you to actually do the thing. The moment you make a promise in public, you're putting your reputation on the line. And at that point, you will do anything to actually do what you committed to. That's not pressure to avoid, that's pressure to leverage. So if you want to be consistent, set up your accountability in 3 steps. Number 1, publicly announce that you're going to do the thing. Number 2, go and update those group of people every single week. And number 3, start building an audience of these kind of people that you've committed to now. Use this as the momentum you need to stay after it. This is what's holding most people back from achieving their goals. When I launched Founder OS, actually, it was called Soulful Entrepreneur. Yeah, it basically sounded like a yoga studio. This thing was messy. The site was janked together on Kajabi. The branding was all over the place. The color scheme was ugly as hell, but guess what? I just launched it. Looking back on that experience 4 years ago, I don't regret a thing because it's going and putting yourself out there and launching at 80% that allows you to go and make progress, to learn and then figure it out. That's what allowed me to create the 180 powerful systems that we now offer inside of Founder OS, which is the community of high growth founders that I've created. None of that would have been possible though if I hadn't have just launched the messy first draft. And so in your own life, what does that look like? What's that thing that, you've had it, sitting there in your folders or on your desktop or, in draft mode for far too long? This is your sign to just launch the damn thing. What matters the most is your velocity of learning. Are you putting things out there, getting feedback, incorporating that feedback into what you're doing, learning from it, doubling down, stopping the things that aren't working, and keeping that cycle going? It's the fastest learners that are the biggest winners. Now that you're consistent, well, what do you do with it? You compound it. Over 7 years ago, I struggled with alcohol, drinking at least 4 nights a week. And it had become a pattern in my life, a rhythm that I knew needed to stop. And so sure enough, I got some help, I got a coach, got a therapist, and stacked up 7 days of sobriety, 30 days of sobriety, and then now 7 years. Along that journey, I also started stacking different habits. I started to then journal just a half a page every morning. That then led to 3 pages every morning, and then led me to sharing some of that work onto platforms like Twitter and LinkedIn. That gradually led up to building an audience of over 3.2 million people around my personal brand. And that then led to the creation of Founder OS. I tell you all this, and I'm definitely skipping some of the details just to show you that sometimes it's those most innocent little changes that we make that stack up to create some of the biggest impacts in our lives. And so when I think about going and building leverage these days, one of the most important things that I do is 4 hours of founder flow every single morning. Now, for you, what you want to think of is, what's that big thing that you're trying to get done in your life, and then break it down to what you need to do today to get there. The biggest mistake that a lot of founders make, though, is that they view consistency as a daily grind, when it is the consistent actions that you take daily that really create the person you're trying to become. Discipline builds momentum, but leverage builds freedom. And when you combine both, you stop working for your consistency and your consistency starts working for you. I went and created a comprehensive guide called Consistency OS, so in the next 30 days, you could go and master consistency in your life and business. If you're interested in going and checking that out, go get it for free via the link in the description. It's a free guide that's gonna help you, your team, become way more consistent day after day. If you like this video, don't forget to like and subscribe, and go and watch this video, which is how I build a business that runs without me.